silence your phones, please.
Okay, we should be going. I think we have captions, but.
So you ready?
I think so. We're having a problem, so I apologize. It
Okay.
doesn't appear. I'm seeing it, but I'm not seeing it, the captions.
Okay, and we're set up there too with, okay.
Yeah, we're good to go. I just don't understand what's going on with that, but we're good to go.
Okay, make a motion to open the meeting. Is there a second, please?
I'll second.
Roll call?
Trustee Lanfair?
Aye.
Trustee Stetser?
Aye.
Mayor Plummer?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Okay, does any board member have a conflict of interest or anything to disclose this evening?
I do not.
I do not. Okay, with that being said, I'd like the clerk to read the open meeting compliance certification. It's long.
It's long. Okay, the public will have opportunities to comment on specific agenda items when they occur in the meeting and also on general matters at the end of the meeting. Speakers can comment once in each comment window if it is on a specific agenda item. It is not a debate, a deposition, or a panel discussion. Speakers must step to the front of the room if physically able. Alternatively, they may provide comments from where they are seated. If an attendee is participating via web conference technology such as Zoom, the clerk will announce how attendees should signal that they wish to comment. This may differ by platform, but is typically accomplished through the raise the hand feature. We are using Zoom tonight, and if you're in attendance through virtual world, please, there's a button to raise your hand. If you have questions you wish for me to ask the board, if I can speak tonight, please put it in the Q&A. I do not look at chat. Thank you. Speakers must give their name, address, and organization. There shall be an exemption for any category of people protected by New York State law. Speakers must be recognized by the presiding officer. Speakers must limit their remarks to 3 minutes on any given topic. Speakers may not yield any remaining time they may have to another speaker. Board members may, with the permission of the mayor, only interrupt the speaker during their remarks for the purpose of clarification or information. Speakers must observe the commonly accepted rules of courtesy, decorum, dignity, and good taste. Interested parties or their representatives may address the board by written communications to villageclerk@villageofpittsburgh.com. All written communications will become part of the public record and will be attached to the minutes for that meeting. At the sender's request, written communications will be read aloud by the clerk at the meeting and will adhere to a 3-minute time limit. If printed materials or other media are provided by attendees during the meeting, they must submit it to the village board with the optional distribution to audience members. All materials will be part of the public record. Private distribution of materials to audience members only is prohibited.
Thank you. Okay, there'll be a quiz. Okay, next up, the building inspection report. Steve, hi. Thanks for being here. We've all had copies of the report to review. Are there any questions for
I
Steve?
don't have any questions.
He's been busy. I know, I'm like, wow, look at all those emails and phone calls and that going on still in our village. Okay. Anything you'd like to add, Steve? Okay. We have, well, as part of this, we have the document about climate change to sign for, not for,
It is about climate change.
it is about climate change, but it's the resolution for DEC.
Yeah.
Can you speak to that, just so people here know what that's about?
There actually are a couple different climate community programs. We're already in the Climate Smart community program through NYSERDA, but DEC also has a accredited climate program. And we are not currently registered in that program. The item in front of you just purely registers us, as in the town is already registered in this program for Climate Smart. And what it does is it allows more access to funding and grants.
That sounds great.
And as you go along, the same thing, there are different levels, which allow different things.
Okay, so similar, we're already a climate smart community, so part of that program is we earn points. For example, if we switch out these lights, which we have to LED, any sort of sustainable actions that we take are sort of logged into the program, and when you reach a certain level, we receive grants, funding, direct funding, where we don't have to match the funding. So we've already just received the $5,000 level, and then the next one up, I can't even remember, 20?
We could get up to
20,000,
20,000,
yeah. Yeah, so it's real, these are great programs, and they're really geared to positive outcomes, that it's all about the upside. So I think this is great, so,
Jeff already looked this over.
Yep.
Okay, any concerns?
sounds good, so how about a motion?
I'll make a motion to sign, what am I saying? What is my motion? To adopt the DEC Climate Smart Community Resolution? I don't see a title on it.
Adopt the New York State Climate Smart Communities Pledge. We're adopting the pledge. It says at the bottom.
Oh, there we go.
You see where we are, and then it lays out the,
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, that's where I pulled the language.
oh, nice, okay.
Okay,
It's just a single sheet.
is that good enough?
Okay, is there a second?
Lanfear, second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Trustee Stetser,
Aye.
trustee Lampier,
Aye.
Mayor Plummer,
Hi.
motion passes.
Wow, we're getting smarter with the climate. Okay. And thanks for pulling it together, too, for that. That's great. Steve's kind of our point person in the village for all things energy and sustainable. Yeah.
Anything that'll get us a little money,
Yeah, no, it really helps. It helps us move things forward, for sure. Anything else then, Steve? Did you
I
want to
don't know
speak
if you
to?
want to mention at the same time the fact that you're meeting with the gentleman in regards to Siemens and the furnaces.
Yeah, I actually had that down as an item, but we could certainly, it's the clean energy campaign, it's part of that. And there's a let's talk about it now, because you're right here. So
All right, well,
let's talk about the furnace.
Same thing, we're close to the next level on the one program, and I believe that also in the DEC program, it would put us up to what they call a bronze level,
Mhm.
which allows you for more funding. If we reach a certain level, we will get another $20,000 non-matching from the first Climate Smart Community program. So
Okay,
meeting with Mr. Siemens, he will work with us to get the best deal we can for the furnaces and help us along with towards that funding.
right, and so we do have an aged out heating system. It's running on oil and gas, and we all know where energy prices are going as well, and because we are a climate smart community, we want to do things in a sustainable manner, and it's really an aged out system. It's time to swap it out. This has come before the board before. Chris Catt, who is the representative from Siemens Green Government Program, addressed the board actually quite a while back. And it's a great program to the extent that they work with municipalities all over the New York State. They also work with the Pittsburgh Central School District and have a program there. What's great about it is they will come in, they will help us with funding, they will help us with proposals, they will monitor what happens when we switch out from the old system to the new, so we can actually track, the cost savings. And they only make money when we actually save money. So it's really geared to a win-win program. So we're going to be meeting with him, and we'll be hopefully getting a proposal and bringing it back to the board so we can, move forward on this, because we really do need to take action. I think we're kind of at the duct tape and super glue level with the system.
Those furnaces are basically band-aided together at this point, the
Okay.
old oil ones. They're all rusted and
Yeah.
band-aiding them for quite a while.
Yeah, okay, so, that's a good thing. And this all, again, dovetails with what we just adopted, and also with the other part of the Climate Smart program. So thanks for that, yeah. I'll keep you posted. Okay, moving on. The DPW report, Zach, our superintendent, has been out quite sick this week. His whole family's been down with the flu. So, and I spoke with him very briefly today. He could barely talk. It's right in his throat. So he apologizes for not having a report. He knows that you were interested in getting the list of the street trees. He said they're all healthy native trees, every single one, and he'll get the actual list to you when he comes back, hopefully on Monday. and he'll distribute it to the board.
Okay, and there was
Yeah.
a specific question
Mhm.
regarding planting that was done on State Street,
Mhm.
which appears to be on private property rather than in the village right-of-way. And I wanted a clarification from Zach.
Oh, I'll
So how
have to
that
find out.
occurred.
Okay, we'll have to find out because really nothing.
Was that not, so NISDOT did some replacement planning, correct, since
Yeah.
our last meeting?
That was nice dot. Yeah.
Have we done any planting yet?
The only planting that I am aware of is one that was a tree replacement down on Shane Place.
Okay, so it's possible that
Mhm.
State Street one was
State Street could have been nice dot.
NISDOT, but why would?
Nice not put it in and they
Yeah.
didn't put it in the right spot?
They might not have, I don't know, we'll have to follow up.
Okay.
So thanks for bringing it
Okay.
to our attention.
May I
You know,
ask a question?
excuse me 1 second, just 1 second, please. So the action item then for Zach is to follow up on that State Street. Do we know where it is?
I sent him a
You
photograph.
you did, okay,
Yeah.
so this is just following up. Okay,
Yeah, it's front of Chase
Okay.
Bank
okay, okay,
on State Street.
okay. I bet you it was nice dot then.
So all native trees, and he was going to also supply a number,
Mhm,
how many
Mhm.
were planted and
mhm.
where.
And we haven't done our planting yet. The village hasn't done any planting, right?
There have been other plantings, I mean,
Okay.
just they're ongoing.
Okay,
Yeah, there's always plantings.
so it is possible that was one.
Yeah, it could have been, I don't know, we'll have to wait until he comes back and he's
Okay.
feeling better.
Yeah.
Yes,
I also noticed.
name and address, please.
Oh, Robert Moore, 7 Washington Avenue.
Mhm.
I also noticed the tree on State Street, and the thing that struck me is there's 2 spaces available between the curb and the sidewalk where trees could have gone.
Mhm.
The problem with where they put the trees, it's directly under the wires, where if it was in the proper position,
Yeah.
it wouldn't be
Yeah.
under the wires. There's a couple spaces just beyond on either side of the Chase driveway. One is where a tree came out, where one needs to go back.
Mhm.
When we worked with the bank to narrow the driveway, there's another potential space for a tree that's empty now,
Mhm.
it's screaming for one. And there's also several spaces on Monroe Avenue, just west of Washington Avenue on the south side that need trees.
Yep, they've been identified,
There's
yeah.
several spaces in front of 20 Monroe Avenue by the Little House.
Mhm.
There's 2 spaces that trees were taken out and they need to be replaced.
Yep. It's on the list, I know that, for sure, I'm in
And
row,
the
yep.
second thing is, the trees that are planted, what size are they? And can we get a list of the species that are being planted?
Yes, that's already been requested, it's happening, yeah.
Okay.
Great, thank you. Okay, so,
And are we still on Zach's report?
as best we can, I mean,
Okay.
we
Yeah, I
don't,
just want to be, since Art asked that we
Yeah.
talk about the speed sentries,
Yeah, yeah.
and I did let him know that, okay.
yep, just give me 1 second. I also want to say, we did get our new Bobcat.
Okay.
So everybody's very happy about that. Anyway, that was just, because Zach was very excited.
I know, he was going to announce it tonight.
Yeah, okay, yes, please, the sentries.
Speed sentries, we got some new ones, and we couldn't put them out on our major roads because of all the construction. So I know particularly on State Street, we couldn't put it up until NISDOT was finished, and if Zach was here, he'd probably be able to tell us when it can go back out.
Mhm.
But we as a board need to decide where those others are going. I can't remember. Zach does probably have a list, and I
He
don't know if we
does.
need to revisit it. Given all the construction, everything got kind of
Yeah,
thrown off. We should probably revisit it and come up with a plan, but that's easy enough to do before our next meeting. But I will follow up once Zach gets back. I'll make sure to follow up on the State Street one in particular. They want one on both sides. I don't know if we have enough yet.
I don't think we
I thought
do.
we talked about putting one permanent on
Yeah.
one of the directions and then having a floating one that could sometimes be on the other side.
mhm,
But if Zach was here, he would remember.
right. So when he should be back next week, and
Okay.
we're hoping he's going to be feeling better by then. And so maybe what he can do is, put the list out to the board, and we can all start to follow up on that.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's important. It's definitely important. Okay, moving on then, treasurer's report.
Hi, Nita. You received an updated treasurer's report from Brooklyn yesterday, included in the packet today. We're looking for a total of $26,620.73 to be approved in the bill pay provided.
Yeah, boy, what tipped it is the $86 from the sewer fund. No kidding.
That'll do it every time.
Yeah, any questions on the report?
The Zoglin one, 24245, oh no, 245 is probably their standard.
It is.
Both of those are, because one says, so anyway, have they been run by the chair?
Typically, we run them by.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Any other questions on this? I'll entertain a motion to approve as represented, or as presented.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second,
Lanfear, second.
roll call, please.
Trustee Stetser,
Aye.
trustee Lanfair,
Aye.
Mayor Plummer.
Hi.
Motion passes.
Okay,
Okay.
next up.
And you thought it was safe. There's two things I need to get approved. And of course, I'm going to apologize, one is not in your packet. What it is the interest payment on the bond, and that's around $1,500. I need to get that payment out and before our next meeting, so if I can have approval to go ahead and get that payment made.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second,
I'll second.
roll call, please.
Trustee Stetser,
Aye.
trustee Lanfair,
Aye.
Mayor Plummer,
Aye.
motion passes.
Okay, moving along.
Moving along, and I still want to spend money. We received the New York State retirement bill actually came out last night. I'm asking for payment today. The reason I'm asking for payment today ahead is if we pay it before December 15th, we can pay $61,942. If we wait till February 1st, we're going to pay $62,387. So I'd rather save some money, considering that line was under budgeted because the bill did go up in comparison to what they gave us as the projected payment.
So which one is is it in our favor, or I'm reading it backwards? The 62,387 was what we were billed?
If we pay it by February 1st, we pay that amount.
I see, okay,
We want to pay it early. 'cause we want the
gotcha. So we
discount.
save 1,000, okay.
Yeah, and our next meeting is December 15th. I really want the check to go out, and so if I can have the authorization to pay the retirement bill.
I will make that motion.
Second?
Second? Did you second?
No, I said,
Okay.
is there a second?
Yeah, I'm the second.
You're the second. Okay. Roll call.
Okay. Trustee Lanfair,
Aye.
trustee Stetser,
Aye.
Mayor Plummer,
Aye,
motion passes.
okay.
It's just three of us, there's not a lot of wiggle room with the motions and the seconds.
See, I told
Kinda
you I was
rolling
gonna
along.
keep spending money. Now, here's where I'm gonna try to collect some money. I need to send our outstanding tax payments to Monroe County so they can make us whole. So I need authorization to send $26,638 to Monroe County. You did receive in the first packet one amount. There was a payment in there that should have been taken out, so that was taken out, so the true amount is $26,600. So if I can have the authorization on that.
So moved?
Lanfear, second.
Roll call.
Trustee Stetser,
Aye.
trustee Lanfair,
Aye.
Mayor Plummer,
Aye.
and I will need the three of you to sign off on that form,
You have, okay, thanks.
so I'm going to pass that around.
I only have a red pen, I'm going to have to borrow
Oh,
yours.
here.
Thank you.
Yeah, never sign in red, right?
And financial reports, and I'm happy to say, with these financials, I'm submitting September and October, we are caught up to October. I couldn't issue November if I wanted to. So,
That's fantastic, that really is. Dorothea's worked so hard, so now we're current, we're actually current on all of this, which is wonderful.
right, September looks fine. I'm not even going to address September because we have October. I figure go right to it. Nothing big of concern. There is a couple things I want to address with the board real quick, just to draw your attention. And hopefully in your packet, the yellow showed up. There's some things, there is some minor budget change. There is a couple numbers that you're going to see. One is going to be for Osborne, for PCP. That line, we have gone over by $10,180.15. I do want to review that, just because I have concerns that we're appropriating the payments to the right location before I address the board with that. I just want to make sure that was handled appropriately,
Okay,
because it seemed a little high. Let's see. The other one was the T1 Lynn that's showing negative. I'm not sure why we have anything in T1 Lynn, so I
it doesn't make
think in a
sense.
I think inappropriately, we built something to our T. Wineland account, and it should be part of the escrow agreement. So I need to review and see what
Okay.
happened there with Brooklyn.
Let's
So
sort that out.
I'm leaving those negative because I think there's an error with the accounts.
Right,
Okay.
okay.
All right, outside of that, the only other thing I'm asking the board to do, because as we discussed paying our New York State retirement bill, I included, oh, I sure hope I included, I'm sure I did. I included budget transfers. Those lines are not negative, but they would be negative if I paid them as stated. So I'm going to need approval on the budget transfers, which are handling the negatives we have with the records management contractual, which I discussed with the board the previous time with the financial review.
Mhm.
That's a minor overage due to our software contract. The other things are 2 personnel lines, and this is one of those areas where I was trying to explain to the board, it's hard for me to anticipate because me and Zach sit down to proportionate the money to certain personnel lines. One of the lines you see we went over is street lighting. Well, we've been having someone painting the poles.
Oh,
We budgeted 750, we already went over that. So
Yeah.
it's a good thing, it's just where the labor is being used. So I need to maneuver the money to cover all the labor lines.
okay.
There was 2 labor lines that went over. So if I can have authorization to make the budget transfers as presented, and therefore general and sewer is again accommodating the overage in the New York State retirement.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to authorize the transfers for general and sewer.
Thank you for saying it. Then
I don't even know how that came out. Is there a second?
Lanfear, second.
Roll call?
Trustee Stetser,
Aye.
trustee Lanfair,
Aye.
Mayor Plummer,
Aye.
motion passes. Thank you so much, and I hope to present a report every month from this point on,
That's great.
Did you say quarterly?
monthly.
When did we get the quarterly? So we can see where we stand?
You're getting it on a monthly basis, you're getting it more
Instead
often.
of quarterly.
Yeah,
Got
it's actually more real time,
You're
you know,
getting
which
it-
is great.
Now that I'm
Okay.
caught up to October,
I see that.
I can't do November till the November bank
Sure.
statements come. Once they come, if they come in time for our December meeting, I anticipate they will, you'll have a November's at your December 15th meeting,
Okay, perfect, thank you.
okay? The next thing we have for me is minutes, not to jump on because I see it's me. I think the only minutes you can't approve are September 8th.
I think so too.
Right, I wasn't here. Are we talking about minutes?
Yeah, for 8th,
Yeah.
the 8th you
The
were
8th you
here.
were.
Oh, but the one.
The other 2, I don't have the quorum,
Yeah.
so if the board cares
So we
to
can
approve,
only approve the 8th.
that's it.
Okay, I'll make a motion to, unless someone else has some, you already got the corrections. I
Yeah, I have the
sent
corrections as submitted.
earlier. I will make a motion to approve the September 8th minutes with corrections. Or as amended.
We have a motion, a second, roll call,
Yeah,
please.
trustee Lampier.
Aye.
Trustee Stetser.
Aye.
Mayor Plummer.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. I'll submit the other 2 next meeting. And I think with that, I am done unless the board has any questions for me. I know I went kind of quick.
No, well, I mean, you've been moving it along, it's great.
Is the clock quote, is that, do we need Zach for that, or,
No,
okay, all right.
no, he's all good. He's
Okay.
like, please.
Before you go to the next agenda item, here I am again, I'm jumping in. I have a non-municipal I'd like the board to
Oh,
approve.
yes.
I'll
Thank
pass it
you.
around. It's for, I'm going to say, the Chabad.
Chabad, yep,
For the menorah celebration on December 19th. It would just be too late by December 15th for planning. So if I can just have the board.
are we
if I can-
45 days?
Sure.
Are we,
Yeah,
41 right now.
yeah, I waive it.
just waive it.
I like.
Waive the 45 day, I'll make a motion that we waive the 45 day
We're hearing a motion.
requirement.
Yeah.
And further, that we approve the non-municipal use permit for Chabad of Pittsford Incorporated, the 19th of December for the menorah lighting.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Roll call?
Trustee Lanfair?
Aye.
Trustee Stetser?
Aye.
Mayor Plummer?
Aye.
Thank you so much. I'm sorry for the
Nothing's
late
changed.
submittal on that.
No, it's,
Yeah.
and it's really well attended, it's really nice.
Actually, he got it in on
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. So we're
I
going
want to
to
miss it.
hand this back to you.
All right,
Okay.
thank you so much.
Okay, are we time certain on the public hearing?
We have to be 7 o'clock. so
Okay, because
we
it
have-
wasn't listed on the agenda, the time certain, that's why I'm just.
Oh, I'm sorry, it's
It's
7
okay.
7 o'clock, so we have 4 minutes.
Okay, so we, then, yeah, well, why don't we jump down to tree legislation? Okay, let's take a look at that, because this is what we have received, actually, this from the town, because they have adopted this legislation, and so the board's already seen all of this, and it was really just changing out the word town for village, so, as we like to say, in municipalities, there's no pride of authorship, so. Is there anything you'd like to
Some
add?
might say plagiarism, but,
Yeah, well, yeah, that's right. So this is what we have been talking about, to be a street tree community, and it's best practices really for managing our trees, our canopy. So I'd make a motion to move this to public hearing.
This is on the tree legislation?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we open the public, you made the motion, I'm
To
seconding
move
it.
it to public hearing.
Oh, yeah.
Set the date, yeah.
I will second that.
Okay, and roll call.
we're gonna need a date.
Oh, we're going to need a date. We have to say the motion with a date. Yep.
Yep.
Okay, so we're going to need a date for the motion. What's our date?
December 15th at 7 o'clock.
December 15th at 7 o'clock. As amended in the motion. Is that okay to amend your motion with that?
Yeah.
Okay, as amended.
I'll second.
Okay.
Okay, roll call, trustee Lanfair,
Aye.
trustee Stetser,
Aye.
Mayor Plummer,
All right.
motion passes.
Okay, that took a minute and a half. Okay. Let's see. Well, we could just talk about Westport Crossing next steps. I mean, I think this is just really, we have received information from the applicant, just in terms of how this is unfolding, moving forward. And I haven't really had time to review this letter, this one that came in this afternoon.
One and a second.
Pardon me?
Go ahead.
So they're just talking about, all the next steps. This went out, this was in the amended packet as well?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we at least have it in the amended packet. I think it's just to really fill everybody in on, all the things that are unfolding.
I had one question.
Yeah,
Number 4, the LWRP grant.
oh, I'm looking at the wrong sheet, okay.
This is under permit coordination.
Yeah, okay, I'm looking at a different document, yeah.
I am, actually, let us say the two that specifies village cooperation or village application. Will it be made clear at a public meeting that the cost will be incurred, any cost will be incurred by the applicant, that we will not be paying for any applications?
Yeah, you're right, it
Any
should be, yeah.
consultants that will be writing the grants and so forth?
Mhm,
Okay.
mhm. And yeah, and Dorothea, you've
Put that
been
on
following
record.
up on the escrow with TY Lin and,
Yep, no, we need to, that's something I have said to the board,
Mhm.
and to the mayor, to the mayor, to make sure that we have all the escrows we need moving forward to replenish the escrow, because they pretty much wiped it out with.
Yes.
yeah,
Next round.
yeah, and they've been made aware of that. She's been, keeping them up to date on that. Yes,
Brian, 47 Washington Avenue. 2 questions. What is the LWRP grant request for, specifically, what's the program? Secondly, will they be moving ahead with the median in Monroe Avenue as a traffic calming device? And actually, 2 questions. And as has been proposed all along, will the village be hiring TY Lane or someone else to do regular construction inspections on the project? Because for a project of that scale, you really do need an expert on multifamily.
yeah, we are going to definitely be having oversight from an outside engineer. Steve, we've been talking about this as well, so we will be looking at that. And what was approved in the plan going forward, it includes everything that you just mentioned. So, and the LWRP grant, I haven't had a chance to even follow up with them on that. This is just a document
So you
we've
don't know
received.
yourself.
Yeah, so this is just a document we've received, but we're just trying to keep things open and in the public. So everybody at least sees what they're looking for and how they wish to move forward working with us,
The
so.
other one is the median, do you know?
Yeah, that's all part of the plan, that was all part of the project, so,
And one more,
yeah,
sorry.
sure.
And the other is the project on Sutherland, where they will be laying the water infrastructure, I believe.
They have to cut across the school
Yeah, they have
property.
to cut across,
Mhm.
so that might be a little bit of complexity as well, that we,
Right,
Yeah.
and if the removal of many street trees, which
Right.
were anticipated as well, I
Mhm.
think all of those are going to be something we would
there's
want.
still a lot of moving parts, they're not
Yeah.
breaking ground, and they're also working with the Monroe County Water Authority, there's, the whole Stormwater Coalition review,
Right.
there's so many reviews that are even outside of the purview of just us, so all of that will kick in, all of it is right now, for sure, yeah. Steve, did you have anything to add on that, or?
They reached out to me for some question on the fire lanes.
Mhm.
I reached out to a couple outside sources for some extra opinions on that. Don't want to take that on alone due to the complexity of the project, and just, we will end up issuing the permit, but not until TY Land or whoever they choose to hire to do all the inspections approves of everything.
Whoever we choose to hire.
SWIP, all that stuff,
Mhm.
it has to be provided and approved.
Yeah, that's the process. Thanks for adding that. That's good. Okay,
702.
7:02, there we go. Okay, thank you. Okay, so what do we have before us on this? Where are we?
I gave you,
Oh, I have
inadvertently, I
it.
was given the wrong application.
Oh, before shown,
Okay, I'm gonna make sure you have it. You left it at the table.
Yep, we
Okay,
got it.
all right.
Okay, so this is for Shane Place? Yes? Hi.
Hi, Jennifer Darlings, 11 London Road. I don't know what I'm supposed to say.
Well, just anything you'd like to add, talk about what you're doing and,
I would like to bring my business to my hometown. I've been in Fairport for 6 years. I have a really good reputation, and I'd kind of like to make it to the next level, kind of opening it up and making it a little bigger. And I found the perfect place, and I really want to bring my business here. And I think it'd be great for the community.
okay.
I have
Any
a question.
questions? Yeah. from the
Already I have a
board?
question.
Yeah, no, that's why we're here.
Will you have chairs, rentals also, or is this just you personally
No, it's
running
not
it?
salon, it's completely aesthetics.
Spa.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thanks for that clarification.
Yeah, okay. Any other questions for our applicant? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to open the public hearing. Is there a second? Or I won't entertain it, I'll make it.
Okay, you make it all second.
Okay, seconded by Renee. Roll call, please.
Trustee Lanfair,
Aye.
trustee Stetser,
Aye.
Mayor Plummer,
Aye.
motion passes.
Okay, is there anybody from the public wishing to speak on this application? Or is there anybody online wishing to
We have
speak?
people online. Yes. Peggy Caraveras. She said, the update pack lists 5 South Main Street application rather than shown place FYI. I'm aware, unfortunately, the application that was provided for me was the wrong application. I wasn't here for the setting of that public hearing,
Oh,
so I missed that. So I do apologize. That's why I did give the correct application to the board. And when it was brought to my attention, it was too late to update the packet online.
okay, came in at the 11th hour.
Yeah, it came in after my updated packet of the packet.
Yeah.
What went in the paper, Dorothea?
The correct application went in the paper.
Correct address.
So it was correctly noticed,
It was correctly noticed. It was
Otherwise.
just an oversight on my part because
you didn't know.
I missed.
Oh, that's what I was at, that's why I asked what was published.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
did include the legal notice in here, and I believe it's for the correct
Yeah.
application.
Okay, no one wishing to speak then?
Do we need to make this available to the people online?
I mean, I thought, yeah, we could.
We
I
certainly-
can update the packet.
You can update it.
Tomorrow, no.
I mean, it's
Okay.
already
I just
in the
meant
public,
before
it's
the-
already in the
right.
public arena,
I'm more concerned that the public
Notice.
notice was correct.
yeah.
The public notice was correct, right?
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to close the
Okay.
public hearing.
I don't know what, I'm a little tired. Is there a second?
Second?
Okay, roll call.
Trustee Stetser?
Aye.
Trustee Lampier?
Aye.
Mayor Plummer?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Okay, it's back to the board. Any further input, or I'll entertain a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the special permit for Shane Place?
Shane,
Sorry.
Pursuant to the application.
Pursuant to the application.
is the motion, is there a second?
Second?
Roll call, please.
Trustee Lampier?
Aye.
Trustee Stetser?
Aye.
Mayor Plummer?
Aye,
Motion passes.
okay.
Welcome to the village.
Welcome, congratulations, and best of luck to you.
Thank you.
Yeah, now when do you think you'll be up and running?
Hopefully within 2 weeks.
Wow,
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm kind of like going at it and I've
Yeah.
really been sprucing up the place, so.
Well, great. Okay, well, nice to meet you both, thank you. Okay, next up, let's see where we are here.
Dorothy has a question.
Oh, yes.
No, I'm sorry, I had a comment that came in on, from our Pearson, I just want to go ahead and relay it to the board real quick.
Okay, sure.
He said, "Thank you for bringing my questions regarding State Street speed sentries to the attention of the board and commitment to follow up with Zach regarding the target installation." So,
Okay, great, thanks, Art. Okay. Let's see, how about the village clock? Over here. So the village clock, let's just talk about, you got the proposal?
Yep,
Yeah.
two different ones,
Yeah,
right?
one is in an email, it's
Yeah.
embedded in an email that we received.
yeah, I cut and pasted out. So.
Yeah,
Thank you.
okay, so you'll see that. And it's kind of coming at the right time, because we do want to spruce things up, because the PGA tournament is going to be here in the spring. And also, sadly, Bud Frame passed a couple months ago, and he and his wife Peggy had donated the clock, several years ago. And I was fortunate to meet with Bud on a few occasions, just over the last year. And he really wanted to see the clock painted and kind of spruced up, and, it needs some new lenses. The lenses are getting a little foggy. So his family, his sons contacted me, and what they would like to do in honor of their parents is to pay half of the cost. Yeah, so nice, half of the cost to paint the clock and do the restoration work on the lenses, at least as identified in one proposal. Only one proposal identifies replacing those lenses on the clock faces. And the first proposal, I think, that we have in the packet is from White's Clock in Carillon. And we already have a maintenance contract with them, and they're very familiar with the clock, and they've been servicing the clock and all of that. And it's also cited in the proposal. Their proposal is, I think, a little more comprehensive, because again, they're replacing the lenses. What they would be doing, they would literally remove the clock, take it back to their shop, and do all of the work there, probably over, I think they said between a 4-week, maybe a 5-week period, roughly, and then bring the clock back. So that's one proposal. The other proposal is from, I think it's, what's the company? I'm sorry, Miller. Was it Miller? Yeah, and they did some painting of a similar clock that's actually in Penfield. Their proposal is, I think, I think were they going to do it? No, they weren't going to do it in place. They needed to have help removing the clock, and it was a little more problematic. And they did not have the same warranty of 5 years on the clock that White Carillon had. So, will the clock be painted? Yes, it's just a question of which company. I think, in my mind, I think it's $2,600 more. I think we are getting more from White Carillon in terms of the fact that they know the clock, they've worked with the clock, and they're doing a complete restoration of that clock, that will really last a long time, and guaranteeing it for 5 years.
And they'll move it as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they'll help jump in and move it, yeah. And the other thing that was brought to my attention was that White's Clock in Carillon, this is what they do. Miller's, this is sort of a side component of what their business is. So, just for consideration.
And the timing on this, I remember Zach saying something about the electric box there,
Yeah,
with whatever DOT's doing, so this won't happen until, or when, if there's some timing.
right, and when Zach's back, I'm going to follow up with him, but one of the reasons why the clock sort of would work and then it would stop sometimes, and we had an issue that was discovered with the wiring under the street running up to the clock when NISTOT was doing the work, so it kind of was an opportunity to get that fixed, and Zach had brought that back to the board.
Yeah.
And we agreed to have that
So that's
fixed.
already been done.
Yeah, my understanding has been done because they wanted to, it was open and they were there right then and there to do it. So that's good news because now the clock will be restored, the wiring will be taken care of, and the clock will work.
And the
Yeah,
warranty
yeah,
was
Steve,
the
did you want to?
same?
Yeah, I just want to say that the clock does not need just painting. Just so you understand, it does need restoration. Earlier this year, one of the side trim pieces fell off the
Yeah.
clock. I took it home and epoxied and repaired it, but they're all rusted in the back, the way they're attached to everything, because when it's been painted before, they paint the face. Don't address anything on the back side of all those top pieces, and if you don't do that, you're gonna lose
Right.
the whole top of that clock eventually.
And so this, you're right, thanks for bringing that, because this is a restoration. I remember you fixed it, and then I think I painted. And we put it back, it's sort of,
And the warranty is comprehensive for the workings and for the inside, because I remember last time we had it fixed, and 6 months later, it broke again, and it wasn't any longer
oh
covered.
yeah, that was
warranty.
with the company out of Ohio, as I recall. This is in Pulaski. And there's one other thing, just one moment, please, just one sec. There's one other thing, the warranty, the 5-year warranty is only being offered by White Caroline, not the
Okay.
other company.
Okay.
Yeah. Just looking if there's anything else that we want to bring up about that. Yeah, okay, fine.
A couple things, is that, I noticed tonight the clock, the light is out on the clock, so maybe the timing needs to be adjusted because it wasn't lit up at night.
Mhm.
And secondly, I assume you don't have a rededication ceremony when it's reinstalled. It would be nice to give credit to Stuart Bolger, because when Bud, myself, and Stuart worked together to find a siting, Stuart was the one who actually picked out that
Oh,
clock.
Stuart did it?
And
I didn't know
he was
that.
actually very close friends with Bud, so it'd
Yeah.
be nice to mention him at the ceremony.
Yeah, we actually are planning on that, to have the family come out, and then I'll definitely call Nancy, too, and get their family involved. That's nice. I didn't know that about Stuart. That's very cool. Thank you. Thanks for bringing that up. Okay, so we have the two proposals before us. My thought would be to really go with White Caroline. I think it's more comprehensive, and I think it, they're all in on it, basically. So I make a motion that we approve the proposal as presented by White's Clock and Caroline Northeast Incorporated for the sum of $12,688, of which we will pay half, and the Frame family will pay half as well, for the restoration and painting of the Four Corners clock.
I'll second.
Did I cover it all, Jeff?
Purpose of clarification.
We'll wait.
I just want to make sure I got everything in.
Okay.
You want this to be totally a village deal because of the tax impact, right?
Yeah, and then,
And we'll bill out, just like
Yeah.
in the other projects.
right,
Right, okay.
Did he just talk about procurement policy?
Yep.
yeah,
Okay, that's
Yeah.
what I was
Yeah.
bringing up, I couldn't
Yeah.
get to his that. I just wanted to point out that the village did follow the guidelines
Yeah.
for procurement by getting
okay, so we have.
Motion second, roll call, trustee Lampier,
aye.
trustee Stetser,
Aye.
Mayor Plummer,
Hi,
motion passes.
okay. Next up, the zoning discussion. This is just a discussion regarding allowed uses in the pickle factory. And this is on the agenda because Steve was contacted by someone wanting to put a business in the pickle factory. Maybe you could speak a little bit about that and why we thought it might be just helpful for the board to just hear kind of what was going on with that.
Yeah, I got a request for an applicant to put in a pharmacy. mainly online. He wanted to start as an online pharmacy in the pickle factory. But in the zoning I can't find a way to approve it because it's not allowed medical. I don't know, and it's not allowed retail. So I'm not sure how to categorize it, to authorize it, but you're allowing a veterinary office factory, but not anything medical. So I don't know how we would change the chart. I think we would need to change the chart to allow maybe medical supplies. I don't know how we would do that, but
Is this, I'm telling you a little bit more about the pharmacy, like how the business would operate. Is this like a retail
it
pharmacy?
would be eventually. He wanted to start
Eventually?
it out as an internet, basically you just order. And he basically is computer.
So he's fulfilling the order?
Yeah, fulfilling an order and it ships out, it gets shipped from A to B. He
Mhm.
basically is like a middleman. But he would like to open up a pharmacy and, eventually in the village. It's a very large space over there. It used to be a yoga space. It's like 3,000 square feet. It has plenty of parking and access to the area. And I guess the village used to have two different pharmacies at one.
Yeah, I remember Hunters and.
Central Pharmacy.
Yeah, but they were on Main
The
Street.
Central, I know, that was so good. I
It's a
love
little
that one.
different.
Yeah,
I'm recalling discussions we had about
yeah.
the pickle factory and the zoning and its use and the neighborhood, and I think it's a little bit more complex of an issue. It's going to require, I think, some discussion on the part of the board, especially when you're talking about zoning changes.
Mhm.
There's a lot more, because it opens the door to others, and are you specifying, and then what if somebody wants to open up a different type of pharmacy, like a regular pharmacy that's retail, is that permitted in the pickle factory?
No, not currently.
No, that's why, I think that's why he's bringing this to the board to just start
I
a
think there's a
discussion
lot-
about it, and, yeah.
There's a lot that I
Yeah.
would really like to research for
Sure,
And maybe,
In there already, you're a chiropractor.
yeah, there's a chiropractor, and then there's been what, yoga?
Yeah, there's been yoga there, but
Acupuncture, massage.
So it seems a little strange that you would allow a veterinarian in there, but not allow pharmacists.
Yeah, I was surprised to see a veterinary clinic or.
I mean, there isn't one in there currently.
No, but I mean, it's allowed use,
Yeah, it is allowed use.
I was a little surprised by that, to see that. Jeff, did you want to just talk about, is there a specific definition for pharmacy? Because I was thinking, is this a Walgreens? But that's really more retail, like so many pharmacies are retail, but there's other different types of compounding pharmacies, or, I don't know.
It's going to be however you want to define it.
Okay,
I mean,
I didn't know if there was anything.
You could define it as a pharmacy who just dispenses drugs and whatever it is, rather than
Sort of a,
the Walgreens retail model. But I don't know if that kind of business is viable. This guy seems to think it is,
I don't know.
Only.
where, if online is successful, I don't think retail would,
Yeah,
without getting into the additional Walgreens model, the retail, toys,
oh, you can buy
milk,
anything. Yeah.
Christmas decorations. You can limit your definition.
Okay, well, that's helpful, Was your hand up there? Your name and address,
Oh,
please.
I'm sorry. Maria Manat, Lincoln Avenue, thank you. It's just a veterinarian and a drug dispensary, just not even close in my mind. I'm just concerned about potential crime, and just drugstores just seems to be like a really much bigger deal than taking my dog to the vet. I know they have drugs there, but we had a dentist office, right, they had Rosen's,
And they have drugs,
and they had drugs in there too. but-
sure,
So,
medical.
I don't know, it just seems like it's a little bit different than dealing with
Mhm.
a doctor's office or pediatricians that we used to go to here in the village, and just seems different from it's just gonna be solely for the dispensing drugs, that's just my thought.
Yes,
Robert Kobe, 7 Washington Avenue. My concern would be that it's a slippery slope about introducing retail into a district that hasn't traditionally had retail. And the difference between the businesses that are currently in the pickle factory and what something pharmacy potentially we have, is if it is a retail pharmacy, there will be a lot of in and out traffic, whereas things like a hair salon or the other professional type of businesses that are in the building have a slower turnover rate. Even Blue Light Elliott, which is in there, has a fairly slow turnover rate. I raised that because that building has a unique position because it is across the street from a residential neighborhood. And during the 28 years that I was mayor, there were many instances where some of the businesses created nuisances for the restaurant or the residents that lived across the street. So I would ask you to consider, the feelings of the residents in the neighborhood as you investigate this issue. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I was looking through the usage list, and I thought it was interesting, that it could be used for a gym. It can be, there's uses where you certainly have gym classes, people coming and going. There's that, that I think is quite a bit of traffic. Also, the idea of having a veterinary clinic or office there. You have pets, animals staying overnight. You have pets being euthanized. Then you're dealing with, that whole aspect of, animals that have been euthanized being removed. That's a whole other ball of wax in my mind that I don't even know that I'm comfortable with. And that's a use that's already been put on the usage list in the code, as opposed to, a way station for somebody taking orders at this point online. I mean, I hear where you're going with like drugs, but we have medical facilities all over and, but the veterinary, excuse me one second, I'm not done. The veterinary office to me is actually concerning because, barking dogs, kennels, I don't know. I think that could potentially be problematic in that area for residents.
The access to the business would be on the back side, not on the residential side of the pickle factory.
Oh, for what the space that this person's looking at? Yeah. Excuse me one second, you're not recognized. The other thing is, there was another usage that actually surprised me as well. I'm trying to just find the table on it. But some of the usages actually do generate far more traffic that are on the list. So I'm not sure where the balancing factors are. And I think maybe we should just take a look at the table and look at some of the uses just in general. I mean, I don't know that we have to do it right now, but it may make sense to just go back and look at some of these usages that have been identified. Yes.
Two factors in this one I think are important. The difference is the pharmacy would, if it is a retail pharmacy, would have constant in and out traffic where people will be inside for 5 minutes, pick up the prescription and leave. If you go to the gym, you're there for 2 hours, an hour and a half. It's very different. Same thing with the veterinary office. The other thing is, even if it's on the back of the building, if you're going to make a zoning change, that means in the future, a retail use could occur on the front of the building where it could potentially have impacts on the neighbors.
Okay, thank you. I think again, this is a discussion. I would like to maybe, get some more research done. Yeah, Renee?
So right now, what is that considered when he doesn't have a storefront, he's solely, he's just retail, which is allowed.
See, that's where I'm having kind of a strange thing. Is it retail? He's doing all internet sales.
In other words, it's sort of a warehouse for him to distribute what's being ordered?
Yes, it would be basically, it's all being mailed, you know what I mean? Mail, internet sales. So you're not coming in and giving him $20 and picking up a bottle, you know what I mean? He is purchasing and having it shipped direct to people. They don't come in and pick up the product. So I'm not, I don't know where to define this.
Right.
That's the issue.
And you're saying in the future, he probably would like to have some type of...
He would like to expand and have it be an open pharmacy for the village eventually. You know what I mean? If the business, the way he's modeling it, takes off, he believes he can save people a lot of money by doing it as an online business.
Okay. That's interesting.
I mean, if it's something you think about, it might be worth having him come in and in the next meeting in December, just talk to you and kind of go over what his business model is, just to get an idea of what he's looking at doing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not averse to that, you know. I still, you know, the usage list still doesn't make sense
Makes
to
sense
me.
why we would allow one
Yeah.
thing and not the
Yeah,
other. That's what
yeah.
you're
It
saying.
might be one of those things where you could put in the chart as a special permit, so if the one thing that Bob said, which makes sense, you don't want somebody having a retail business out on the main drag.
Mhm.
So if it's under a special permit, you have the ability to decide where and how things are put in it.
Yeah, there's more oversight.
It's allowed, it's allowed.
Once it becomes a specially permitted use, it's presumed that it's acceptable
Right.
where it's going in.
And it can always remain there.
With conditions. So somebody wanted to come in on the front side, they're coming in with a presumption.
The whole property
Yeah,
is looked at,
yeah, right. You can't,
being permitted.
So you don't have the same caveats like in the planning and zoning where they say, you know, it's the best public interest, things like that.
no, not a special permit.
Yeah, I see you're perusing there, Jeff.
Yeah, I don't know what you call this. I don't think it's an administrative office, and I don't think it's a professional office.
That's what I'm saying, whatever, you know.
Yeah, what, if someone were selling jelly online,
Yeah, that's what you're talking about.
Yeah.
A product.
right, isn't that just
Unless-
e-commerce, or is it different because it's pharmaceutical? No,
I don't see the difference in the use.
like you wanted to
Unless-
sell sweatshirts online, and so that's your,
I mean, you could certainly define that kind of use somehow. You could say it's an office for a mail order office. You could include that as an administrative office in the definitions.
there's
Right
no
now, it's
foot
not.
traffic, it's not, nobody's coming in, there's no storefront, he's doing it all,
Yeah.
that's basically it.
But the definition of an administrative office is a use of a building or structure in the operation of day-to-day activities that are related to record keeping, billing, personnel, and logistics within an organization. So it's not that.
Hmm.
Not, yeah,
I think it would be a special category all by itself, you know, unless the board wanted to do something with a pharmacy. Not a retail drugstore, but a pharmacy.
Mhm.
And then you could, if that were, I'm not saying, I have no opinion on it.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
I'm not suggesting, I mean, you could just say it's retail, you could just say pharmacy and define that as what you want it to be.
I'm thinking that there's like compounding pharmacies that are apothecaries,
yeah,
you
well,
know,
they're actually.
right, you know, and they also do have other over-the-counter or prescription medications. I know that those exist, and then I'm thinking, even down on Monroe Avenue by Wegmans, there's a Walgreens that really isn't a retail pharmacy. It is geared to prescription pickups and first aid items. That's it,
And I agree with Steve, this is not a permitted use.
yeah.
But there are technically retail business in there already, if you're gonna be honest about it. Rhodolite Elliott, you can go and get a copy and you pay for it.
Well, yeah, I think that's an accessory use, I think they're probably a.
Or their grandfather in. or-
No, well, not only that, I bet they're an office professional.
Yeah,
Work
Yeah.
professional plans in there.
I mean, I think it's worth exploring, and, you know, I agree, researching, you know, and taking a look at this use table, and maybe what we think a pharmacy would be.
I mean, it's clearly not a permitted use.
Yeah. Yeah.
The board has to decide what or if
Mhm.
wants anything of the nature of that kind in that zone. Anything you put in that zone will go over in Village Green as well.
Now, see, Village Green, that would be interesting, because there's so many medical offices over there, to have something like that there,
I think
you
they,
know?
are they both MUOF? What are they, MUOF?
Mhm. Yeah,
both
they
of them?
are. They both
Yeah,
are.
there's no medical out in Village Green, it's probably 3/4 medical. You know, I mean, let's be honest, I mean, there's doctors in every building over there, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think we probably need to revisit this, just, yes.
I have one more comment when you're ready.
Yep, you know, I think I'd like to just revisit this and some of the uses, and see if we're in the right direction here, you know? I think that's prudent, just for a whole set of reasons, frankly. Yeah,
Peggy Caraveras,
Mhm.
has the owner of the pickle factory approached the village about the pharmacy issue?
Yeah.
The owner?
The owner, Sheila, I think it's Sheila, if I remember right.
She was the manager.
she's the manager, and she really runs it, yeah, Sheila
I
Castano.
don't know who the technical owner is, but I spoke with Sheila in regards to
Well,
it.
she wouldn't take any action without the approval of the owners. Yeah, that's how that works, yeah. Any other comments? Mhm.
Art Pierce, he says, per section 21022.4A4 states that uses not listed are expressly prohibited.
So it's a,
Just,
Thanks for confirming that, okay.
that's all I have.
Okay, all right. So, I mean, I'm thinking next steps, you know, I would like to revisit the uses, maybe do some more research. I think that was a really good idea to research, you know, what a pharmacy is, if we want one, what would that look like? I also am interested in just reviewing the chart, the table of the current uses and the things that are not allowed. I don't think that's a bad thing to do, you know?
So if you're contemplating working this into the workshop, the zoning workshop, I assume?
Well, we have the code update workshop. You know, this could be something.
It's a standalone, I guess I'm trying to.
It could be a standalone,
It is
maybe.
a standalone.
Probably standalone, because it's really not.
Because we're talking
I mean,
about,
this is a bigger-
I think, not just pharmacy, also
Mhm.
how it affects all of these definitions of retail and going forward. If you're changing the zoning allowed uses in a certain district, it's like dominoes. We have to see
Mhm.
what will affect in the other districts as well. So this is a very comprehensive look that we have to take. It's not just a quick fix and we're going to change the word and add pharmacy. I want to be clear.
Oh,
on
I
that.
don't think anybody's thinking that at
Okay,
all.
good. Okay,
Yeah, I
wanna
think
be
that's
clear.
why it's been an agenda item tonight, to open the discussion and then look at next steps.
Okay, so you'd like
So I
to
think
on
there's
its own.
no one trying to substitute language, words, anything like that. Yes, Jeff, you had a comment.
well, it could be comprehensive, or it could be isolated to this issue. You
Mhm.
could
Mhm.
isolate it to this zone, look at the other uses and decide whether this fits, doesn't fit.
Mhm. I mean, I'm
So
looking,
you could make it a one item,
well, yeah, we certainly could do it, but what I'm saying is
but
that, you know, I'll keep going, I'm sorry, I interrupted.
I'm, you know, babbling, so I'm done.
You know, because I'm looking at some of the other uses, you know, we can have a daycare center, a child daycare there, you know, there's consequences for some of these too, for the neighborhood. I mean, I'm not saying yes or no, but I do think it might be worth a revisit of some of these uses. So, and again, I think, yeah, you know, really.
As its own
working through
agenda
it.
item, I guess.
Yeah, I think so too, I
Okay,
do, because I think it's a little
He's not-
meatier.
He's not getting a use variance for this use, just not.
Pardon?
He will not get a use variance for this use.
Right, right.
So if, you know, I mean, that's the other way, that's the other
Yeah.
remedy he has, is to apply for a use variance.
Mhm,
And I don't think he'd get it, because the standard is so high.
mhm.
You've got to prove that there's no other use that would be, you know, viable there for that space.
Yeah, and that's,
It's listed in the zoning, and it's
right.
probably simply not true.
Okay, so then what we'll do is we'll bring it back and probably set this up separately, and, you know, all the rest. Okay, so moving on here. Short-term rental legislation review committee. And Jeff, thanks for sending out that information. You saw what Jeff sent out,
I
and
did.
then you saw my response as well.
I didn't see your response.
Well, basically, here, let me get this.
It might have been in an email thread, and I got as far as Jeff's, and it didn't.
Well, it was my response to Jeff and to the rest of the board. I just
Okay.
immediately, you know, I just answered, just saying, because, and Jeff, correct me if I'm wrong, you know, we can set up a committee that would advise me as the mayor, or
Well, that's not right.
how do we, well, you're right, I would set up the committee too, for the advice, you're right. And then the other option would be that the board helps to establish the committee through appointees that I make requests to have appointed to the board, and they respond to the board.
Correct, yeah.
That's where we should go. I mean, we're going to be working on legislation. I think it's inappropriate to have just a committee to advise me. This is something that we're working towards, and we want to, engage the community and the board. So, that's where I'm going with it. And I think tonight, really, what we're looking at are just, the parameters for how we want this committee to look, and just some thoughts that I've had. I'm polling other mayors in the county to see where they're going with this type of legislation, because I think everybody's kind of looking at this. You came up with some legislation from Victor to take a look at.
Yeah, Victor and Geneva.
And Geneva, that's right. And then there was some good legislation that I also sort of added in the pot from Cornwall and Hudson that was passed, I think, just a year ago. So, maybe the parameters are that there's, 5 or 6 pieces of legislation that's been adopted in New York State. We already have some of them. The committee would be able to work through and survey these different pieces of legislation, and then from that, maybe make some recommendations to bring back to the board.
Yes. Yes.
Because again, as we just said, there's sort of no pride of authorship, I guess, with legislation, so I think it's just a good starting point for us.
I think what Jeff pointed out too is also, and it should be on the record that I did read a lot at the last meeting, and that is that it's in our best interest and the best interest of the committee that's formed to have the board set up the guidelines of the information that they would like to receive, so the timeline, and also how many members you see fit to be on the committee. Beyond that, I'm wondering about the procedure, how it proceeds. Is it that the mayor puts forth the names, or are the board members permitted to put forward names, or how does it work?
Why don't we have Jeff kind of take us all through the process so we all get on the same
I think
page?
it would be a resolution constituting the committee from the board, which means that the committee's going to exist once its membership is filled. So I see that resolution establishing the number, establishing the guidelines, what you want back from them, the time frame that you're looking for. And then once it's established, the mayor nominates appointments to the board, subject to board trustees' approval.
I think, okay.
It's like any other public officer.
And so then we would, try to come up with the parameters, how many members and all of that, and then direct you to put together the resolution for us.
So is that our next step, if we know we want to put together this committee, is to make a motion to
Yeah.
or agree
Well-
to have Jeff,
No, I think you have to have the parameters of,
we need that first, or is that something you would do?
I think, that's your
Okay.
We
baby.
give him the direction.
Okay,
Yeah, I mean, my thoughts would be that you have 5 members, so you aren't overburdened with the numbers. So not like a comp plan committee, just a committee that can do one job in and out.
yeah.
But that's not my call to make.
Would it be appropriate for board members to place in an email what their input is regarding what our goal and what our guidelines should be? And then that would help you to formulate it, or are we formulating it ourselves?
Yeah, so
And then, okay.
I would suggest sort of a combination of that strategy. Would not be inappropriate for board members to put forward what they think as what they want to see. And then you can discuss that at the next meeting and refine as a board exactly what you want to see, how many members, is there going to be a chair, that sort of thing.
Okay.
And then I'll put the resolution together once you tell me what to do.
Yeah, so,
Okay.
And then by January, we'll have a resolution you can adopt, and the mayor then can start nominating or appointing people subject to the board's approval.
Okay.
Okay,
So I think the first step is try to, everybody think about what they want.
yeah, think about
Okay.
how we want it to
And,
look.
I would define what they want as should cover subject.
Yeah, we're not looking for specific legislation, points
No,
of legislation. What we're looking for is just the concept of what the board would like to receive in information from a
Right,
committee.
right, and I think that would be fairly specific.
Your recommendations,
The
right?
recommendation of what the legislation should contain.
Mhm. And then we craft the legislation
And we'll craft the
with our
legislation.
attorney. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So I feel like this is sort of like we're down south, like we're fixing to do it,
Right.
The state of fixing, when you're thinking about it.
Yeah,
Excuse
I
me.
mean, it'd be good, I'm sorry. it'd be
Go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
Be good if we had a full board to make that
Mhm.
decision. So I think the next step is for everyone to gather the thoughts, probably communicating in advance, but not decide, there can't be any
No, right.
deciding by emails, but proposals from each member, what they want to see, and
Mhm.
those will go in the packet, for the public to see, and you'll discuss it at the next meeting. With the
Yeah.
thought that you're going to give me direction to create a resolution establishing the committee at the next meeting,
Okay.
Yep. Go ahead.
or whatever timeline you choose.
Right.
Yeah, whatever, but I mean, if we can do it, that's great, depending. Yeah, Steve,
This will go out to the public, right, for the member of the committee, so you have a chance for pros and cons, kind of to be.
yeah, we always post it, we post things, and we were already receiving, information from residents as well. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, this is a community-wide effort, absolutely.
My idea would be that your emails would go to Dorothea, and that comes as part of the packet.
Mhm.
It's sort of an outline of what every trustee and mayor is thinking.
Yeah, what our thoughts are.
That's probably really all the grammar, we only have one mayor.
If the board agrees, I could email the board. I could email you next week to request your proposals for the committee,
Okay.
and then,
I think really what we're trying to state would be the goal of the village as far as what we wish to receive. I'm not saying the words very well. I have seen, as I've researched this, how to write legislation about short-term rental, is that the most efficient way is for the board to be clear, or the municipality to be clear regarding what their goals would be. And this way, the committee, the Citizens Committee, is not wasting time. They're being very efficient in they're not developing the legislation.
No, they're not.
So that's to be clear, they're not developing legislation.
Right.
They're just doing fact-finding and
Mhm.
giving feedback to the board so the board can make a good decision.
In different areas, what are you going to do with pre-existing? How are you going to handle that?
Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
Is it going to be yearly licensing? Is it going to be owner occupied? Is it not going to be owner occupied?
Right.
Before the committee is put together, do we need to say yes or no, the community would like to allow or not allow? Or is that one of the questions that the committee
I
can
mean,
take on?
a committee may very well say, give you a very short report, we recommend there be no legislation,
Or we could,
Mhm.
yeah, okay.
in which case they would continue to be unregulated.
Yeah, they could come back with all kinds of recommendations. Yep. Okay, so we're in the fixing stage. All right.
I'm clear, we need to provide some recommendations.
Yeah, and Dorothea, you'll follow up with our board and just say, everybody, this is where we're headed.
What is the next meeting date? Are we looking at the
December 15th.
Yeah.
December 15th?
Mhm,
Thank
And
you.
then you can rash it out.
Yeah,
mhm. Great,
sounds good.
okay. Well, the clean energy campaign, we kind of covered that, just in terms of sort of where we're going there. Let's see, member items.
That's me, I guess.
That is.
Yes, you were official, I'll wait my turn.
Oh, okay, sorry.
You did yours ahead of time, I respect that.
Okay, she gets first dibs.
I don't-
Yes, she does.
Okay.
The South Main Street parking, just to keep the public informed, we did back in September officially put in a request to maintain the parking on both sides of South Main Street. We enlisted the help of SRF, our traffic engineering firm, and they provided a report of recommendations, so we had some data to back it up. And the initial plan that was brought forward was to eliminate all parking on both sides.
Yep.
And we said, no, we need to maintain it on both sides. And they did propose having it remain on one side due to safety concerns, and we said no to that as well and requested formally that parking be maintained on both sides, and it was not honored. So I was trying to estimate about how many spots.
Yeah.
It looks about 7, given that they moved they're consolidating the one crosswalk.
Yeah.
We were going to lose some parking spots on either side of that due to daylighting, to make it a little safer. So I think we've lost about 7, is my estimation. It could be 6, but they weren't
Roughly.
the official length either on that one side. So we wanted to acknowledge that we did try to get that, to keep the parking on both sides. We've had discussions as a board, and we made the official request to DOT. The mayor did reach out to them recently, and before the paint went, and said, hey, we understand, it looks like you're not going to be putting the parking back. And they responded with, we determined it would be safer, that it would make the road safer, I believe, is the language they use, yet they are open to revisiting it. So to me, that's that's a very optimistic statement that you don't often hear, that we are.
I know,
open
that's
to
true,
it. So
actually.
maybe I'm being Pollyanna.
I know, well, they've actually really come through on a lot of stuff, and they've really worked with us. The other thing, too, that I want to mention is that the way South Main Street sort of move goes to the Jefferson Road intersection, that street actually narrows. And we did know that towards Jefferson Road, they were going to remove that parking. We knew that, because they just said it just doesn't even meet any of today's standards. And Renee, you've also mentioned another really good point, that the old parking spots were not the accurate length that met the current NISTOT standards. So that's another reason, they're saying, because cars are larger, So now they're saying, they have to be, I can't remember how many feet, 13? Something.
I don't remember.
I cannot remember, but it was significant. And so, even if they were to put back even more, we still would never reclaim fully what we have lost on that side of the street. There's just is no way, even with, the current standards. So that's another
So
consideration.
I think we have to continue to put pressure, which we do every time we meet with them. We're mentioning this, we're mentioning the right-hand lane here, we're mentioning the long left-hand turn lane that we've been talking about for years since Bob was in office. And then also allowing the residents there who do have concerns to reach out directly to, that's what I've been recommending, to reach out directly to NISDOT, to let them know as residents that parking was useful and we need it.
It all helps.
So that will help any efforts that we do as a village too.
It all helps. And on the other hand, they have come through on a few other things for us, so.
Media.
Yeah, exactly, the media, things like that. So any other member item?
No, I just wanted to let everyone know. I think we're going to get a couple of residents from South Main reached out to us, and we'll get an appropriate contact for them, and we'll just continue when we meet with DOT to ask for this, so that they.
We're good at being squeaky wheel.
Yeah,
pun intended. Any other member items from you? Okay, we're doing member items right now, so I want to just continue with that. So,
Thank you.
Yeah.
I just wanted to state for the record, I apologize, this past weekend, the Friends of the Arboretum group did quite a bit of weeding and mugwort removal in the upper meadow and did a fantastic job. I applaud them, and I think the village is
Yeah, that's
forever in
great.
their debt
Yeah.
for all
Thank
of the
you.
hard work that they're doing, and I understand they have another weeding party coming up this weekend. So I just wanted to say how much I personally appreciate all their hard work, and I know the village does as well.
Lily, before, following up on that, I think there are some piles there that they wanted to know once Zach comes back. They left the piles of the mugwort from this latest.
Oh, we need to bag that.
Yeah, we do
properly.
before it goes back into the soil
Oh,
for the
yeah,
winter.
yeah, we can
yeah.
solarize that, or,
Okay.
yeah.
So whatever needs to happen, I thought Zach was going to come tonight, but.
I'll let DPW
Okay.
know how to dispose of that.
Okay.
Yeah, it just can't be disposed. Yeah, what else?
The second one is the bench on State Street, which I think we have discussed thoroughly.
Yes.
And I'm hoping that the
Going
board
up.
can come to a consensus and move ahead with the purchase of said bench, and also if Zach would begin the process of getting the permit for its placement. And the board may want to discuss exactly where it should go, but it has been, as I previously stated, budgeted. I think the board seemed to feel more comfortable with the one bench with a back as opposed to two benches with no back.
And pro bag.
Understanding.
Even from
So-
some residents too.
Yeah, that's,
back. Yeah.
So I don't know if we need a motion and a vote, but I would like to authorize Zach to move ahead with the
well,
purchase.
first of all, this is member items, and we're going to put it on the agenda.
Okay,
Okay, so let's put it on the agenda for our next meeting and move it forward, okay?
yes, perfectly
Okay,
acceptable.
so that's an action item for us, Dorothea. Okay, yeah, Steve?
I was trying to pick up a third question that goes through the HPV. Is it a permanently installed bench?
Huh, we've never done
No.
any permanently.
I'm
No.
just asking a question because I want to
I
know.
don't, we
Yeah.
don't know.
This is, you
Seasonal.
went, or the last one went through NISDOT approval because it's in the.
Oh, yes,
That's nice,
that's
that was
the hoop.
something different,
Right.
yeah.
So I
You
wonder.
really, you chased that one down.
Yes,
You were-
year and a half.
And I don't want to get hopes up, I think Zach did something because I have a request from NISDOT for insurance. So either they're renewing the insurance on the existing bench,
Maybe.
Oh,
or
okay.
it's insurance for a new
Or they could
bench.
just roll it right into the second there.
How about
So I
that?
did
Love
a
that.
request from our insurance agent.
Okay,
Okay.
okay, so we'll follow up on that one too.
Yeah.
Okay, any other
That's it.
member items? Okay, I have a member item, and we planted almost 900 early pollinator bulbs throughout the village. We did a post thanking all the wonderful scout troops that spread around and put in the bulbs. We had the diggers, the droppers, and the what do we have? And the packers, where they pack the dirt. So it was really great teamwork. And not this weekend, because it's Veterans Day tomorrow. And just a quick reminder, there is a ceremony tomorrow at 11 o'clock across the street at the Veterans Memorial. It's really great, and we hope people will turn out and support our vets and thank them for their service. But the following weekend, we're going to be planting more bulbs, and we hope to be planting them down in the Washington Street Road median there, and also the median underneath the railroad bridge. And they're going to be hundreds of beautiful early blooming tulips and daffodils, and we'll be sprinkling in some crocuses and little grape hyacinths. So the troops will be helping us, and anybody from the community that has gloves and a trowel, you're all welcome. Yeah, but big thank you to the scouts. It was really, really a fun time. And that's my member item. So any other, yes.
I know you're waiting on comments from the public.
Yep.
I have one online as well.
Okay, should we start online then? Yeah.
Okay. Peggy Carabaris, an additional issue on South Main Street is an apparent DOT plan to expand the corner in front of John Woodman's home to allow for wider turns. Please inquire with DOT as to what these plans are. Expanding that turn will definitely adversely affect the neighborhood.
Absolutely. Haven't heard.
We haven't heard anything
Yeah.
about that, nor has there been a plan that even has been shown to us that even shows any widening. And remember earlier, when they first started work, this came up, and we asked them directly,
Yeah, because there was
Yeah.
some concern when the new light, they were rebuilding the curb.
Right,
And,
For code.
yeah, and Peggy and some others asked about it, and we directly asked NISDOT, and they said that's just simply redoing the curbs and bringing them up to compliance. So we can, if she has any information that we don't
Yeah,
have, that would
we
be
would
super
wanna
awesome,
know.
because that would be not a
have
very, that would
Peggy
be a step,
contact you.
it'd be a
Because
step
something-
backwards,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Because, and they've been actually very good about showing us their work schedules, you know, all of that, and we haven't seen anything about
Yeah.
that.
We'll double check.
Yeah.
Have Peggy
too.
contact me with whatever information
That would
you
be
have.
great.
I can
It'd be
forward
great.
them to the mayor
Okay.
and trustee Stetser.
Great. Is there anything else?
Nothing else
online?
online.
Okay, any other public comments? Yes.
I'd like to address the board. Robert Corby, 7 Washington Avenue. A couple comments tonight. One, I'm concerned about possibly looking at all the uses that were, when the zoning was put together in our comprehensive plan and zoning code update. We spent several years doing that with the most thorough outreach to the public that has ever been conducted in this village. There was considerable time spent in developing those uses, and not only in consultation with residents, but with extensive interaction with the planning board and the zoning board. Also, regarding the Pittsburgh Village Green Office Park, there is a specific history there about why certain medical uses are allowed and why they are not. There have been times in the past where the grass there has been covered with cars because there haven't been enough parking, because we all know medical uses today are generally large practices that are fairly intensive in their demand for parking. So just be careful about not opening a Pandora's box. As a resident, I would say our neighborhoods here have been the hallmark of this village, the quality of life that we have in our neighborhoods. They are always under attack because of the volume of traffic and because of the changes that DOT has made in the past and has proposed. And that leads me to my second comment. The recent changes in the striping are different philosophically from the discussions that I conducted with DOT when we initiated the traffic calming improvements that have taken place. My advice to you as a mayor who for 28 years worked with DOT and spent years getting the concessions that were made, start now to undo these changes. These are disastrous. I was nearly hit yesterday at the Four Corners with my dog because somebody zoomed through the traffic light when I had the pedestrian light and they had the green arrow. And the turning lane has been lengthened on Monroe Avenue, allowing greater acceleration towards the intersection. The stop lines, to me, look closer than they were to the crosswalks, even though we were told they would be moved away from the crosswalks. That hasn't happened. On South Main Street, it's not just the loss of the number of parking spaces, which is important enough. It's the loss of the character of the street and the comfort for pedestrians on our sidewalks. The turning lanes have been lengthened in a number of locations, which we all know from our discussions with Steve Ferranti does very little for volume. I'm very concerned on North Main Street because now the turning lane happens before the parking spaces end, and you're encouraging cars to accelerate. At the same time, we know there's a lot of in and out traffic due to the gas station, JoJo's, the pub, and the dairy. So I know it takes persistence, but please, as a resident, I request that you start now to undo these changes because they are not in our interest. Thank you.
Thank you. And we've already started because we're all in agreement. We all have the same concerns. We all share that. And the advocacy and the nagging, I guess, continues, really.
They were just out painting yesterday. And so today, as I have a new driver, or he's in training, and taking him to practice tonight, he had to go through the new right turn lane on Monroe, which we just painted yesterday, is very long.
Oh, yeah.
It's at the entrance
Oh,
of
yeah.
the Breathe parking lot.
It is unbelievable.
Even the ones on Sutherland Street has been lengthened.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Yeah, everything's been
Absolutely
lengthened,
everywhere.
which was not,
Not even
Yeah.
what we were even
It's
shown.
1970s planning.
Yes,
yeah.
exactly.
Yeah,
It's
no
the
work
old
with
model.
So we got a lot of great things out of this
Mhm.
big project, and then we took some steps backwards.
And then they painted.
Yeah.
And then they striped, so
Maybe better when there weren't any, well, never mind.
Well, that's what it was.
Okay,
Okay,
the cones out, it was nice and,
Yeah.
okay, I think we're set, so I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Is there anything else, any other business before the board? No? Okay, is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I will second.
Roll call?
Trustee Stetser?
Aye.
Trustee Lampier?
Aye.
Mayor Plummer?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Can we get the
Thanks,
yield
everybody. We
signs
just
back
need
in the
to-
crosswalks?
Excuse me,
This, you know,
Let's just
As soon as they're done.